right, ladies and gentlemen, in this part of the video, I'm going to go over how to construct circle graphs. Just a reminder, when we're dealing with circle graphs, we're always dealing with circles out of 100%. But again, we're always comparing our part of the data to the actual whole set of data. So let's take a look. So we have a Busch Garden survey, and a group of students were asked to name what their favorite roller coaster was at Busch Gardens. So we have a little table that's represented here. It's got four different roller coasters, and then it's got the number of likes for the students. So whenever we're constructing a circle graph, the first thing that we need to know is how many students were surveyed. Now, it doesn't tell us directly how many were surveyed, but we can figure that out simply by adding the total number of likes. So if I were to add 24 plus 12 plus 6 plus 6, that would give me a total of 48. If you needed Desmos to do that, you are more than welcome to use the Desmos calculator. Now that we have that, we're going to compare the part and whole of this data. So we're going to take each roller coaster that we have here, and we're going to go ahead and compare the part to whole. So for Griffin, there were 24 students that liked Griffin out of 48. Now we do want to make sure that we simplify if we can. Now 24 and 48 are both divisible actually by 24. 24 can go into 24 once, and 24 can go into 48 twice. So this means that half of the students liked Griffin the best. Now let's take a look at Loch Ness Monster. Loch Ness Monster had 12 likes out of 48. And both of these are divisible by 12. 12 can go into 12 once, and 12 can go into 48 four times. So that means that a quarter of the students liked Loch Ness Monster. Now, looking at Apollo's Chariot and Alpengeist, both of those have the same number of likes, so we're going to end up with the same data for that. So Apollo's Chariot, there were 6 out of the 48. Both of these numbers are divisible by 6. 6 can go into 6 once, and 6 can go into 48 8 times. So we end up with an eighth of the students liking Apollo's Chariot, which means that an eighth of the students will also like Alpengeist, since that information is exactly the same. Now that we have that information, we can then go ahead and create our circle graph. So the first thing we want to do is have a title. So it says favorite roller coasters of 48 students, because 48 students were surveyed. Now we can go ahead and graph this data based on the fractions that we came up with. So looking at the first part, Griffin is represented by 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and create 1/2 of the graph here. So I'm just going to draw a line going straight down, and I'm going to put G for Griffin, and I'm going to put 1/2. I also want to go ahead and put 50% for that. So I put 50% there. Now let's take a look at Loch Ness Monster. Loch Ness Monster is represented by a quarter. So all I'm going to do is take the other half of that and split that in half. And when we do, we end up with Loch Ness Monster, which I'll label as LM, as 1/4. And again, that 1/4 is also known as 25%. Now we still have Apollo's Chariot and Alpengeist, and they're exactly the same. So this last bit that we have here, we're just going to have to split that directly in half. So when we do, we have Apollo's Chariot, which I'll label as AC, as 1/8. And again, if we were to take that 25% and divide it in two, we would end up with 12.5%. So I'll write that there. And then Alpengeist, same thing. It's represented as 1/8, and that would be 12.5% as well. So that is how we construct our circle graph. We need to know how many students were surveyed or how many items were in the data set, how much for each section, and then we're able to create fractions for each piece and construct our circle graph from there.